During World War II, there emerges an aviation legend whose story defies all odds. A highly skilled pilot known for his exceptional flying abilities, who became a role model and an inspiration to all those who have a dream and are told it's impossible. A leader diving into combat with unparalleled courage. A hothead that sometimes riled up his senior officers but earned their respect. A man who wouldn't let disability stop him from becoming one of the best pilots of his generation. That man is Douglas Bader, and this is his story. From a childhood fascination with the skies to overcoming adversity on the battlefield, his journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Born in London 1910, Douglas was a natural-born aviator, drawn to the skies from a young age. As a child, he would watch in awe as planes soared overhead, dreaming of the day that he would one day join them in the clouds. In his youth, Douglas was a skilled athlete, excelling in rugby, cricket and boxing. His boundless energy and competitive spirit set him apart from his peers, foreshadowing the spirit that would define him in the years to come. Unfortunately, fate had something in store for Douglas. At the age of 21, tragedy struck. During a routine aerobatics display near Reading, England, Bader's aircraft, a Bristol Bulldog, plummeted towards the ground from a low altitude. The cause of the crash was deemed to be pilot error, as Bader attempted a risky maneuver too close to the ground. It was his misjudgment that resulted in his tragedy. As a result of the horrific crash, he was seriously injured, crushing both his legs in the impact, leading to their amputation. It was a devastating blow for Bader, who had dreamed of a career as a pilot since childhood. Many would have seen this as the end of their dreams, but not Douglas. With characteristic determination, he refused to let his disability define him, learning to walk again with the help of prosthetic legs. You see, before his accident, Douglas had also survived a serious motorcycle crash in 1931. And despite sustaining multiple injuries, including a severely broken ankle, he made a remarkable recovery and returned to flying soon after. Injury didn't stop him then, and he wouldn't let it stop him now. When the war erupted across Europe, Douglas was amongst the first to volunteer for the Royal Air Force. Despite his disability, he was determined to serve his country in any way that he could. But the RAF was skeptical. How could somebody with no legs fly a plane? Undeterred, Douglas fought tooth and nail for his chance to prove himself. He famously declared, "Rules are for the obedience of fools and the guidance of wise men," refusing to let anything stand in his way. Finally, his persistence paid off and he was accepted into flight training. With his prosthetic legs strapped securely in place, he took to the skies once more, defying gravity and the doubters alike. Here's what Douglas himself had to say about flying without legs in a BBC interview.
Can you remember your feelings at that particular time?
Yes, the feeling was interesting because I thought when I first got into an aeroplane, with two artificial legs, that I would find a method of flying it, but it would feel different. In actual fact, the strange thing was that as soon as I put my feet on the rudder bar, and there were no brake pedals in those days, and started flying, it didn't feel any different at all.
Douglas Bader's loss of both legs in the flying accident actually contributed to his ability to withstand higher G-forces whilst flying. You see, when a pilot experiences high G maneuvers, the blood pulls from the head to the lower extremities away from the brain, causing G-lock. However, because Bader had lost his legs, he had less lower extremities, which meant that he was able to endure higher G-forces without blacking out. This advantage made Bader particularly well suited for aggressive aerial combat maneuvers, as he could withstand higher G-forces for longer periods of time than many of his friends and foes. It contributed to his reputation as an exceptional fighter pilot and allowed him to execute daring maneuvers with precision and skill during dogfights, contributing to his success as an ace in World War II. In the cockpits of his Hurricane and then Spitfire, Douglas was a force to be reckoned with. His aerial skills were impressive, his courage unyielding. "Aim high and you won't shoot your foot off," he would say, inspiring his fellow pilots to reach for glory. He started out in a Hurricane, and one of his first duties was providing air cover for the retreat at Dunkirk, where he quickly racked up 2 kills. It was clear this man was a capable pilot with leadership qualities, so he flew up the ranks to squadron leader of a squadron of Canadian pilots. As Douglas first walked in to see them, one amongst them said, "Great, that's all we need. Now we have a man with no legs." Douglas was furious, so he decided to show them exactly what a man with no legs could do and proceeded to his aircraft to fly a display to put to bed any doubts of his capabilities in the air. He flew that aircraft better than any of them could, and the Canadians knew in that moment that they had a leader that they could respect. During the Battle of Britain, where the Allies were outnumbered 3-1, Douglas really got his chance to show what he could do. Tasked with guarding an airfield, he took it upon himself to go chase some German bombers that he had sighted and encroached on the airspace of another squadron. When on the ground and confronted by his disregard for the rules, he simply pointed out, "Hey, we shot them down, didn't we?" As the war raged on, Douglas became a legend in the RAF. He shot down enemy planes with uncanny precision, earning accolades and awards for his bravery. But it was his unwavering determination to never give up despite disability that truly set him apart. Yet amidst the chaos of battle, Douglas carried a heavy burden: the memory of his fallen comrades, the friends that he had lost along the way, and knowing each time that he went up it could be his time to meet his maker. Courage is doing what you're afraid to do. There can be no courage unless you are scared. But through it all, Douglas remained resolute. He flew countless missions, braving enemy fire and the harsh realities of war. And with each mission, he inspired those around him to push forward, to never lose hope, no matter how dark the days became. After the Battle of Britain, the Allies took the fight to France. Barder was promoted to wing commander to lead much of that fight. In the fierce dogfight over the English Channel, his squadron was outnumbered and outgunned. Bullets tore through the air, engines roared, and the chaos reigned supreme. In the midst of battle, Douglas found himself face to face with a formidable foe. With his heart pounding and his hands steady, Douglas engaged the enemy in a deadly dance amongst the clouds. For what felt like an eternity, the two pilots circled each other, maneuvering for the kill, but Douglas was determined not to be outdone. Rules are made for people who aren't willing to make up their own, he thought, as he outmaneuvered his adversary, his bullets finding their mark with deadly accuracy. Over a stint of 8 grueling days of combat, he claimed 12 kills. Most could only take 6 months of battle, but Barder stuck it out for 18 months. Tired and burnt out, and on painkillers for his legs, Barder finally met his match. During the Battle of France in 1940, while flying his Spitfire over enemy territory with an inactive radio and inactive airspeed indicator, he got into a fight he just couldn't win. He was forced to bail out, losing one of his legs in the process. Despite his best efforts to evade capture, he was eventually apprehended by German forces and taken as a prisoner of war. Barder's determination to escape and return to the fight never waned, leading to several daring escape attempts during his time in captivity. But to first try and escape, he needed his legs. He hassled his captors to make him a replacement leg, but they didn't have the capabilities. Fed up with the hassle that Barder was giving them, they finally agreed with the RAF to airdrop one of his legs into France. Back on his feet, he immediately tried to escape out the hospital window, and for those that knew him, this was typical Douglas Barder. Due to the many escape attempts that he made, they threatened to actually take his legs away and eventually put him into the supposedly escape-proof prisoner of war camp Colditz. But this did not stop Barder from trying to escape again. On the 15th of April 1945, during the closing stages of World War II, as Allied forces advanced into German territory, the prison camp was liberated and Barder could finally return home to England to his beloved wife Thelma as a hero. If you're enjoying this story so far, do hit the like button and consider subscribing for more inspirational stories of aviation. As the war drew to a close and the world began to heal, Douglas Barder emerged not just as a war hero, but as a symbol of hope and resilience. Don't listen to anybody who tells you that you can't do something, he would often say. If you have a dream, you have to chase it with everything you've got. His story has inspired countless others to never give up, to never lose sight of their dreams, no matter how impossible they may seem. And though he may have flown his last mission, his legacy lives on, a testament to the power of human spirit to overcome even the greatest of obstacles. Barder is credited with 22 aerial victories during World War II, and despite his significant contributions to the war effort, particularly considering his physical disabilities, his tally of victories is relatively modest compared to some of the highest scoring aces of that conflict. In fact, the highest scoring aces such as Erich Hartmann and Gerhard Buchholm of the Luftwaffe achieved triple-digit kills, with Hartmann being the most deadly ace of all time, credited with 352 victories, and Buchholm with 301 victories. Leave a message in the comments if you want to see a video on their stories. Here's Barder himself being quite humble about his achievements.
Of course, one is delighted that one was lucky in the war. Now, if I hadn't been lucky in the war, the disability side of it would never have been publicised. And there are many other chaps who fought far better and much more effectively than I did, but the fact I hadn't got any legs caused me to get publicity. Now, that, as you say, has helped a lot of people, maybe, and I hope so, who've had similar disabilities. On the other hand, the other thing I must say is this: there are a lot of chaps like myself who've lost both their legs, who are just as good as I am and on them, in fact probably better now, who haven't had the publicity because they didn't have the good fortune I had in the war, which gave me the publicity. So whereas I can do it, see other blokes and help them and get written to and so on, and go and visit them, a lot of these other chaps probably do it still, but you don't know their names, nor do I, because they haven't been published, you see what I mean? It's as simple as that.
Barder's achievements are nevertheless remarkable given the challenges he faced, both as a fighter pilot and as an individual with physical disabilities. His legacy is more often associated with resilience, leadership and determination rather than his total number of aerial victories. He was recognised for this and he was knighted in 1982. Here's what he had to say about the team effort of the Battle of Britain.
What I think one must emphasise, and I would know that every other RAF pilot would want me to emphasise this, is that the Battle of Britain was not won by the Royal Air Force. It was won by everyone in this country, by the people on the ground who took the bombing, the fire services and all these auxiliary services who fought the flames, who didn't give up. I mean, anybody can, it's much easier, put it that way, it's much easier to go into the battle and fight than it is to sit on the ground and take it and watch you and me doing the fighting, you see what I mean? Yeah. So don't make any mistake, this Battle of Britain is the lot of us, it's not just the Royal Air Force.
After World War II, Barder became an advocate for disabled individuals and worked tirelessly to improve their rights and opportunities. He played a key role in the development of wheelchair sports and helped establish the British Limbless Ex-Servicemen's Association. If you've enjoyed this story and felt inspired by it, do consider helping my channel out with a super like donation, which will help me to keep making videos like these. If you leave a donation and a comment on what video you want to see next, I will see that and put it to the top of the pile. For more information on Douglas Barder, check out his autobiographies, Reach for the Sky and Fight for the Sky, the story of the Spitfire and Hurricane. Also, there's Douglas Barder, the biography by Robert Ross. Reach for the Sky remains one of the most celebrated aviation memoirs of all time, detailing his experiences as a pilot before, during and after World War II, as well as his remarkable journey of overcoming disability. Several films and TV productions have depicted Douglas Barder's life with varying degrees of historical accuracy. Reach for the Sky, based on his autobiography, is one of the best, and Barder himself thought it was a wonderful film. You can also check out his story on Aces of the Sky. I'll leave links to these in the description below the video. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. This video might be the start of a new direction for my channel, as I tell inspirational and emotional stories about people in aviation. So if you want to see more videos like this, do like and subscribe so I know to keep going. In the future, I may bring out a merchandise store celebrating each story as I tell them, so do keep an eye out for that. Check the description for any links. And thanks for watching my first story of aviation.